Yeah, this is what I got here. And he has the best handles ever. I can't say that I picked out what I would traditionally get. This is a lot of heartwood, and I usually don't get a heartwood handle. But I liked how slender it was. I liked the taper on it and everything. And it's got some pretty good grain in it. And I think it's going to be a good handle. If it isn't, I'll replace it. I'll use this axe until it breaks and put another handle in it. But most normally, if you looked at my other axes that I had sitting over there, they all have sapwood handles, and that's what the loggers around here like. They like a straight handle. They don't like this fawn's foot handle. They use a straight handle in their axes, and sapwood, but I think this is going to make a nice looking handle, and I'll do some work on it and we'll fit that in there. Basically what you need to shape a handle is one of these 4-in-hand. They're just a 4-in-1 tool. They're a wood rasp. They're cross hatched on this one, and it's kind of a light rasp with a heavy rasp. This is the slightly rounded side. This is the flat side, and it's got the heavy rasp and the light rasp. I own a couple of those. One's a little more aggressive than the other one, but basically you can take down a handle pretty quick and get it fitting pretty good. So let me clean these things up and get that handle chucked up, and we'll work it over. Well, actually the next thing I need to do is this handle doesn't have much of a shoulder on it here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this out where it's just about a 1/2 inch above that widest part of that shoulder. I'm going to mark this right here, and I'm going to cut that off there so I don't have all this wood that I have to bring down to get that head on there. I just got this much that I'll be working on then, so let me get that sawed off. Well, I just took handsaw and sawed that much of it off. Doesn't have to be exact, just so you got some to work with, and at least you're not having to rasp down all this material to get that head clear down to where you want it. So anyway, so let's see how this thing's gonna fit. Yeah, it looks like I have just to take off a little bit down this cheek and get it started. So I'll chuck this up in the vise and take that rasp and get some of that material off of there. First, you just want to take off a little bit to get it started. You don't want to end up taking off too much because you can't put it back. So anyway, you get the idea on that. If you start that axe head on there a little bit, just taper it. You can see where it's starting to drag. And you look down in there and you can see daylight. It doesn't hurt to have some daylight because you are going to put a wedge in there and it's going to spread that out and fill that. But you want to be careful at this point. You want to only take off the material that is really necessary. So kind of see where it's hanging up there on both sides actually. So I'm going to take that rasp and take some more material off. Now at this point I've got that axe started in there about 1/4 inch or so, and it's starting to fit, but it's still dragging. And so what you do is you put it in there. You get you a good piece of wood, a mallet or something like that. I just have this piece of 2x4, and you just hang it up off the floor. Don't let it get in contact with anything, and just hit the axe handle square on the end, and that head will travel up that handle, and so you can knock it back off of there and see where it's dragging and use a rasp. I did switch over to a little more aggressive rasp, but that little foreign hand wasn't quite doing it on this heartwood. It's pretty hard, so I moved to a little more aggressive rasp. It seems to be doing a better job. So anyway, I'm going to knock this off of there, and never use a hammer or anything steel on this. You'll ding up your axe head. And so right there you can see where it's rubbing, and that's where I need to take off more material, because remember, we still have that split in the end, and we're going to put a wedge in there. So you can take off a little more than you think you need to, but be careful at this point you don't remove a bunch and end up with a really weak handle. So and all I've been doing, I chucked it up in the vise, but I just been laying it here on the bench, and it seems to be going pretty good. Just laying it out there. Take the material off, down to where it looks like I'm matching where that's dragging at. Just moving on down the handle a little bit. I'm sure guys are a lot handier at this than I am, but I like doing it. I like the work. I like doing it myself. It's not hard. It's a fun little project, and get some self-satisfaction out of this. See, those marks are gone now. So you just repeat what I did before. Get that axe head started in there. Hang it. It's called hanging an axe when you put a head on an axe, and that's why you're hanging it up off the floor, and you're that's went on there a little bit more. So just repeat that step again. I do have a nice hard round baton that I use for this, but I broke it, so I just went to look for it, and I remembered I broke it the other day, so that's why I'm using this too. This is the next thing you want to do, is you want to make sure that you put that saw kerf where you're going to put that wedge down in there. You want to make sure that that thing continues down about 2/3 of the way of where your axe head is. So when you drive that wedge in, it's going to fill that all the way down to here. And so it's good to look it over and make sure that you get it down the handle 2/3 of the way where that axe head's going to be. It looks like I'm ready to hang this. So you remember what we did. Get that started in there. And make sure that you hang that axe off the floor. Give it a couple of good whacks. See how that changed pitch? That's home. Okay, get the wedge ready and get this thing done. Right now what I have is a wedge. This goes in that kerf that is sawed in the end of that, and it'll help spread that handle out so it'll fit in there tight. One thing I understand about it, this is a hickory handle, very hard hickory, and this is a softer material. It's if I remember right, it's poplar, and just a soft wedge. And you have to be careful with these when you drive them in there that you don't split them all up. It just kind of ruins the integrity of the whole thing. So let me get this positioned in there, and then we'll get it driven home.